Okay, so I'm back with Lilith in the 10th house. Now, Lilith in the 10th house, if you watch Lilith in the first house, whether you had it or not, y'all, Lilith in the 10th house brings an even more. Lilith in the 10th house can be highly attractive. And it could be physical beauty. It could literally be physical beauty. Serious. It could be physical beauty. It could be maybe something that you possess, or the way that you approach something, like the way that you do something, some status that you have. But a lot of times it's something that you have, or you're doing, or you look like, that's presenting itself publicly, even when you don't want it to. Okay, so let's go here. Because while I'm on this road and I'm trying to explain. Okay, so Lilith in the 10th house is a rather enticing, could be enticing. Now, if you don't feel like this is you, that you're doing this, I'm gonna flip it around, because I don't want to victimize people that's already been victimized. Like, I don't want to, let's say you're Lilith and you had Lilith in the 10th house, but you were abused. Like there was some sort of sexual abuse or something like that took place. You don't want to hear me tell you that you entice people, because that would not be fair. So I'm going to say this. Other people see you as enticing, alluring, attractive. Like, they want to own you, or handle you, or capture or restrict you in some way. Because remember, the 10th house is, the 10th house is limitations, So you're very attractive, in a very, like, your looks is something about you that looks exotic, possibly. Exotic, it's a sexual vibe, I'm not gonna lie. By just the way your mannerisms are. Something that people want to even look into you deeper about. Like, want to get to know you, or want to find out stuff about you. Like, somebody might tell you, like, oh, do you know such and such? Or you might be talking and then somebody's name come up and then they're like, hey, they asked about you. Or and you're like, well, asked about what? Oh, they were questioning me about this, and that. Or such and such came up to the job looking and asked about something that you do, or where do you work, or something, now, whatever, something to where they're trying to probe information about you. Because, like, maybe you could be mysterious in a way, to where if they went to go look online or something, like on your social media and your whereabouts or whatever, they wouldn't just get that answer just by that, because you don't put certain stuff out, possibly. Let's say you don't. Then now they have to, by some means, go and figure it out themselves. Like, go and find out themselves. If you have Lilith and Scorpio here, this could show like obsession about you, about your image, about your status. So you can have people coming at you trying to contaminate your status, like make people think that, oh, she's loose, or she only got that job, or she only do what she do, she only got that money, she only got that lifestyle because of her daddy, or because of her husband, or because of his dad or his mom, or because of his, cougar, or because of his woman. It's always something that could come up to the public, whether it's true or false, that can attack your reputation. So Lilith here can go through ups and downs of reputation, especially if it's in something like a Scorpio or Aquarius or something like that, and take very big hits and losses, but come back again even stronger. Because it'll be very hard to take you down. Unless you give into it. And because of certain things that you could experience when you were younger, as a child, whatever, it could weigh on your confidence of what you look like, your power. You know, you could have really had a lack of or given away your power. You know, and Lilith here is trying to empower you. It's trying to empower you to come out and be as you and live as you, and you know, manifest from that energy. Manifest something that, whether it's, let's say you give some type of knowledge or something to your kids or something, or your children, to where they don't have to experience what you did, or like, even if it's not knowledge, you provided some type of environment or something, you know. So your experiences, it are supposed to get you to finally establish your power, not in a negative way, but in a beneficial way, to where it's beneficial to you and others. You have to remember that, because a lot of times when we feel taken advantage of and we feel abused, or we're unhealed from certain things, really healing to me is when we acknowledge to ourselves that this trauma, this abuse took place, and I'm going to finally face it. How it made me feel, what I did in the process, how I devalue myself because of it, and I'm not going to let it have a strong hold over me anymore. I probably will never ever completely get rid of the fact that it happened to me. I probably will still have my days when I feel emotional, or I feel, you know, affected by it, but I am aware that I'm working with it, I'm dealing with it, and it's not something that's separate from me. It's who I am, and I can only move forward the best way that I can. Okay? You know, it's, to me, it's when you do that, you finally start to gain your power back. You start to gain your confidence from wherever you lost it. Now, this could be, you know, from some sort of authoritative figure in your life. Heck, you could, let's say you were prevented from doing something because of somebody else. Like, let's say your mom's in a relationship with this guy that's abusive or restrictive or ignorant, whatever, hard, harsh, whatever the problems are. And the only reason you're coming in contact with this person is because of your mom been in a relationship. And you could be like, dang, like, you put this person over me. You know, and you have to allow yourself to, you know, gain your power back from that, because it took your power away, feeling like you're in a situation, and this is only an example, but feeling like you're in a situation that you don't have any control over, but it's like happening to you, but not by choice. Like, you would literally choose something else, you know. So that's one aspect of it. But you can easily, it's hard for you. You could feel humiliated sometimes by certain experiences you have, certain life circumstances, or and feeling like people, that's what they're trying to do. You know, in a sense they are, but at the same time, it's really because, well, Lilith has been in the 10th house. Everything is happening publicly for you. This is why you could, you know, you gotta be careful when you're younger in certain choices that you decide to make, because, like, let's say you did something like, you know, some sort of you know, making videos, tapes on OnlyFans and different things, that ends up getting out there. And then later in life, though, as the years pass by, you want to be in government or a principal at a school, you know, whatever. It's easy, or it is a good chance that that information will be public. But even though you have other people that did it, and they may get away with it, it may not be for them. So that type of thing is something that you have to also be mindful of, because of the fact that your Lilith is public. And Lilith, depending on the sign, but Lilith can be it can be like a teenager, a rebellious teenager trying to find his way. And it's like you can't never find your way or be who you are in private because everybody is seeing it. So you feel like your life is out there for people to judge and to get the information wrong, or to judge you and not really know you, and to judge you off of what they see maybe that you have or people around you do or have, and you can always feel like you're up at the chopping block, or you're ridiculed, or you're put down, or it's always this thing playing out, when in reality, people find you interesting and alluring, or they could be jealous or envious of your Lilith power. It is what it is. Because Lilith here could definitely be very alluring and intriguing and even seductive. It could be, you can use your Lilith to get your way. Now, I wanted to name a couple things, but Lilith in the 10th house is you are powerful. You are powerful, and you're here to manifest something great in your life that could be beneficial for you, for others, for your children, or just empowerment for you. Because you're breaking free of stigmas. You're breaking free of restrictions that you place on yourself because of the way that you think and you relate it to, or people in your family, in your environment, your community, whatever that has restricted you. So you're finding that power. Now, this has a lot to do with career and things that you're working on too. And you can find that people can get jealous of you making money. You have to make sure you're keeping the right people around you. That's what I would say, because even though you may not know, other people know the power that you possess and that you have. So they can use you for it. I'm not saying to go around and mistrust people neither. That's not what I'm saying. Like everybody. No, I'm just saying just be mindful of those things. Be mindful of those things. But yeah, because you definitely, that power is there. You definitely have potential to create, very practical. I feel like the way, because what happens here is if you allow yourself to come up with a plan for yourself, or some kind of way to build some type of structure or security for yourself by working on something long term. So like if you were a person to where, because the reason why I'm saying this, because Lilith is acting up. Lilith could find yourself in trouble, with like your image, or with what it is that you are spending your time doing that may not be something that's beneficial for you, whatever. And the fact that you could have lacked is one of two things. You could have lacked the proper structure that you feel like you needed coming up, or it was too restrictive. You need to find a balance, and you need to find a balance from what that looks like for you. So yes, keep the structure, keep the routine, but have it be something that you benefit off of. Let's say you're putting together some sort of workout, like your goal is to get your body looking a certain way. So you're going to put together something, or you're going to follow some type of structure or something that way to build up to that. You're going to feel empowered. You can use this to make money publicly too. Don't get me wrong. Let's say you like to cook and your goal is to make a cookbook. Let's say you like to teach something and your goal is to be like, okay, well, I'm about to teach at a university. I'm about to teach something online. You see that? But whatever you put in place is going to be from your place, not something that other people inflicted on you, that it doesn't represent you or it didn't mean you any good. Like you're coming out of the strongholds of somebody else, other people, and you are finding the power to be you, to represent you. But I tell you, if Lilith is in Scorpio here, you're going to transform. You're trying to transform yourself. And so you might make serious changes to do so. Psychological changes, emotional changes, setting yourself free from something to do so. If, let's say, Lilith is in Aries here, You got to have the willpower to go after what it is that you want and see the results and fight for it, for what it is that you want, by not necessarily fighting people, but letting them see you succeed by winning with what it is that you're trying to produce and you want to manifest. If Taurus is here, then you got to make sure that you pamper yourself, you take care of yourself. You could be practical in your approach, but at the same time, you don't necessarily just go after a bunch of, it's like grasping at straws. You let things come to you as you build, you know, as you establish the type of environment that you want. You know what I mean? Because you can reap rewards there in financial relationships, whatever. If you are Lilith in Gemini, you in your ability to communicate, like you could be felt like you were restricted from saying certain things that you wanted or believing or acting in the way that you want, you know, restricted by maybe your siblings or something. Maybe they got more attention than you, maybe people believed in you, invested more, or maybe you didn't try hard enough, you felt like, and they were outdoing you, whatever the case may be, being compared to them. Then you're establishing through your mind and your ability to speak up and communicate and vocalize that, and helping others, teaching others, you know, especially like something, or learning more, because you could have been restricted before because it was a lot of information you didn't have access to, you know. Lilith in Cancer, family could be a limitation to you. It could, or some type of family dynamic, and you are here and your goal is to establish a family unit. Maybe it looks different. Maybe, you know, you were brought up and they told you, hey, you had to get a husband, you had to get a wife, and you had to have 5 kids or 4 kids or whatever, and you're just like, no, my family doesn't look like that. My family, I have a very, very close friend that's my family. I have an adoptive brother or something that's my family, or like I could adopt some kids, or, you know, or whatever. Or when I do have my family, this is what I want us to be able to sit at the dinner table and eat. I want my kids to all have access to information to empower themselves that I didn't. You see, I'm going down the list here. I ain't do this for no other Lilith. Let's say you got, did I say Lilith in Leo? You have to follow your heart. You have to follow your heart no matter what. I'm not saying to be doing no crazy stuff, but I'm just saying you have to be brave. You have to find courage to do that thing that you really, really want to do, but you feel embarrassed to do, or you feel like you're not confident enough to do. So you got to work on building your confidence in a way that you working on things that you need to. If you are fear talking in front of people, then do something to where you set up something to where you kind of talking in front of people, but you ease your way into it. Putting yourself on something and recording it and posting it, baby, is a perfect way to do it, you know, to start. That's just one thing, you know. Let's say you have Lilith in Virgo. Lilith in Virgo, you have to you definitely have to gain knowledge, but you have to, if you need counseling, this is Lilith and Sagittarius too, but just hear me out. If you need to be alone, if you need to separate yourself from people or situations that you know, highly influence you, that does not give you the chance to understand yourself, where you came from, where you're trying to go. You know, this is a real personal experience. You know, you might have to take time for yourself to develop yourself first. And you do that through knowledge, but you do that through spending time with yourself. You do that through learning new things. You might really have a very practical approach to the direction you go in. Don't keep criticizing yourself. You could be your own criticizing. Your nature and wordation could talk you out of doing something that you want to do. And maybe you were criticized when you were younger and it sticks with you. Lilith in Libra, your partnerships and relationships could be restricting you. You see what I'm saying? You keep drawing in partners that want to be possessive, want to be abusive, want to be in power struggles with people, with friends, and you succumb to them. You submit to them. You give them your energy. You give them your power. And you need to take your power back. And even if you have to lose somebody, you talk to them, you tell them, or you just do it by showing them. Okay? Then if they really they ain't for you, they're not going to be down with it. If they are, okay. They can also, you know, you have people that want to maintain that power over you that could stab you in the back. But then you can find those ones that encourage you as well. But you got to see where your partnerships or in relationships are taking your power. You know, it's like, okay, what does a relationship look like? What does a partnership look like? Okay, I'm going to find that out. I'm going to find that by first implementing that and demonstrating that myself, you know. And then you have a chance to come to across long-term relationships and partnerships too. Lilith in Scorpio, I already did Lilith in Scorpio. Lilith in Sagittarius, experiences. You're lacking certain experiences that you might need to have on your own, outside of your parents, outside of what was dictated to you. Maybe you need to expand in your belief. Maybe you need to expand in your experiences. I think I already said that, but your faith. You might be always doubting, and it prohibits you from going forward. Maybe you need to travel somewhere else, you know, learn about different cultures, religions, you know, be free to go towards your spirituality and whatever you feel like feels true to you. Lilith in Capricorn. Ooh, in the 10th house here. We got Lilith in the 10th house in Capricorn. This is you and your is overcoming limitations and obstacles in life and not letting them stop you. Definitely very powerful here because Lilith wants to be in Capricorn. It does. Do you pass down? Are you the person that has to get something passed down to you, some sort of inheritance or something like that, or you get something passed down to you, or some of y'all build this from scratch? You see what I'm saying? So you can continue on something that was passed down to you that you definitely feel like is beneficial, or you start your own thing from scratch. But one thing is for sure, you can't let limitations stop you. Lilith in Aquarius. Lilith in Aquarius. You can't be afraid to be yourself. Okay, they're looking at you, they think you a little weird, all right, but guess what? They want a show, give them a show in a good way. You have information, you have knowledge, what it is that you know, and you apply that to your life, but don't be held back. You know what I mean? Like, you probably had a lot of sporadic, unexpected experiences that made you feel like a little bit uneasy when it came to if you can, you know, have something steady, have something structured, have something long term. You know what I'm saying? But if you can just take those expectations off of other people and what you're doing and just put it on yourself, just put it and just step out on faith. You see what I'm saying? And know that the security is really within you. You're going to be fine. All right. Lilith and Pisces. Lilith and Pisces. You could have had, you know, maybe a father or something that was experiencing some sort of alcoholism, drugism, or did I say drugism? Or it kind of, it wasn't present enough. You know what I mean? Wasn't present like you wanted. This could be for all Lilith in the 10th house, by the way. You know, and you have to know yourself. You have to become present. Because there's something about you and who you are right now you try to avoid. Maybe it's certain experiences that you had. Because it could have been abusive. It could have been hard. You could be like some sort of very, like, what, spiritualist or something. You can also be somebody that helps other people intuitively find their way. Like I said, like some sort of spiritual guide, or like, you know, guide, spiritual counselor, or just someone. It doesn't have to be spiritual, but you know. You're a very intuitive, highly intuitive person, so you might have access to the spiritual world. Okay, there was something else that I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was. I'm sorry. So that's every sign, and like I said before, all Lilith can experience if you in the 10th house can experience like a father figure or some sort of, you know, feeling like you're not there, like present, you know, like you're not acknowledged in some kind of way by this person or this figure, you know. But you know, you have to understand, separate somebody else's experience, the reason why somebody else is doing something to you that really has nothing to do to you, and you know it's like, okay, well, I didn't do anything to this person. You have to separate the reason why they would be doing something from, and take on only what you are, not what they did. You know, don't take that on and take on that you're, you know, you're not valued, you're not wanted. You have to give that stuff back over to whoever you felt like you received it from. Rejection, all of that. Because until you separate the fact that that person, what they inflicted on you, had nothing to do with you, it had everything to do with them, it'll be hard for you to become empowered, if that makes any sense. All right, this has been Lilith in the 10th house.